The summer break is well and truly over. After 3 long weeks, Formula One is back. We have 10 races to decide our 2025 champion, and it all starts here at the Dutch Grand Prix. 9 points separates teammates and rivals Oscar Piastri and Lando Norris, but the Dutch fans will be hoping home hero, and 4-time world champion Max Verstappen gets the party started. Welcome along to your weekend warm-up here in Zandvoort. And welcome down to a warm and sunny pit lane for now. Don't let that fool you. We have had torrential rain and thunder here today in the Netherlands already. We've got a bumper crew to bring you the first of 10 races to decide our champion. Alex Jacques, Lawrence Barretto and Jolyon Palmer alongside me. How excited are we for this one, guys?
Very excited to get the party started again. It's going to be a great title battle. There's so many things to be decided. Yeah, looking forward to going racing again.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I've been itching to get back. The summer break was just too long, and I just think you mentioned that battle between Oscar and Lando just before the break. It was just starting to get spicy, so I want the next chapter.
And it's a good circuit for it as well. I always like coming to Zandvoort. We get a great crowd. We've had some good racing action. The weather is going to be unpredictable this weekend as well. And I feel like with 10 to go now, every race just counts that little bit more.
The weather could well and truly play its part this weekend as well, as we always say here in the Netherlands, it seems. Lawrence, you've been a busy man this week with the Cadillac news breaking. If you've been living under a rock in the Formula One world, let me tell you, Sergio Perez and Valtteri Bottas are making a return to the grid for 2026. Cadillac F1 have plumped for experience. That is fair to say, isn't it, Lawrence? Why have they made this decision?
Well, they wanted Valtteri Bottas, they wanted Sergio Perez because of that experience. So 527 Grand Prix between them, more than 100 podiums. They know how to win races, to fight for championships. And while Cadillac won't be doing that to start with, they need all that know-how to try and get them from a standing start to be competitive in the midfield.
Yeah, they really do. We have Valtteri Bottas alongside. I'm going to waste no time in bringing him in. Valtteri, hi.
How are you?
Congrats.
How are you?
Good to see you.
Congratulations to you, Valtteri, and happy birthday as well.
you.
What
Yeah.
a day.
Quite a week.
Quite the week.
Yeah. So, incredible week. Obviously, started on Tuesday with the official announcement finally, and now we're here.
It's nice to get you on a show and to know the news, because we've been trying to tease this out of you for so long. But talk me through this timeline and the negotiations you've had, and when you knew that this was nailed on and you knew that Sergio Perez would be your teammate.
So, first talks I had with Graham about this project was about 2 years ago. So it's quite a while. And then step by step he kept me in the loop, like what's happening, what's the plan, what's the progress. And in my mind earlier this year, it became clear that that's what I want to do. Like that's what I want to get involved in this project. And actually, in the end, things went pretty straightforward when we started talking more seriously, and it seemed like they wanted me and I wanted to be there, so it was pretty seamless.
We heard earlier on in the year there was some rumours that you were talking with Alpine as well, who are obviously getting Mercedes power units for next year. What made Cadillac the most enticing prospect for you to join them rather than up the grid there?
Yeah, that is true. There was some talks, but like I said, like earlier this year, for me, why it became so clear was probably just the whole project. When I heard more about what are the plans, how they have been investing, what people are they getting. It's just at this stage of my career, having something fixed for a certain amount of years to get involved, to get my hands dirty. So starting something from zero is not, it really doesn't happen every day. So to be part of that is going to be really interesting.
Valtteri, I know how hungry you were to return. You've basically done everything you can with Mercedes to try and entice people in, but how much of a relief is it to have got the job done? Because you know what it's like to be overlooked, by Sauber and Audi last year. How much of a relief was it?
Beautiful anthem.
How much of a relief was it to really put pen to paper? Because it's gone on for a while now, and we know how much you really wanted to be back on the grid.
It's a good feeling when you know that everything is sorted. There's a clear plan. I have a job, so it's a good feeling and a relief in a way, and it almost feels as good as doing my first F1 contract. It's like I'm a racing driver again. So it's really cool.
That's how bad it's been being on the sidelines this year?
Having to come on these shows.
Yeah. It's been all right. I've had some fun. But obviously this year will continue as normal with Mercedes. I'll be here every weekend. But at the same time, of course, preparing for next year.
You've had a lot of fun this year, though, haven't you? When you've not been in the car. We've seen so many memes from you, including the one on the surfboard, which I loved. Why the motivation at 36 years of age to get stuck in again? Because you got 10 wins, 20 poles, you've proven it in F1. Why come back again?
It's something I've done all my life, racing. It's been the first year since forever that I haven't raced, and it's just confirmed this year to me that I'm still hungry to race, because it's been getting more and more difficult to follow from the side, and more and more I want to be there racing. So, I just still have lots of hunger for the sport.
Great stuff. Valtteri, we're going to have to let you go. We didn't quite put on these wonderful rehearsals, but it seems fitting on your birthday and to celebrate the announcement as well. We do have something for your birthday, though. Now, we haven't lit the candle because it's a pit lane, and I don't know about a live flame in a pit lane.
Yeah, the fuel tanks and stuff.
Wise.
Yeah, I didn't want to hand you something. I didn't want to set everyone alight, but this is for you.
Thank you.
It's a tiramisu and a stroop waffle. We know you love coffee.
Yes, thank you very much. That's very kind.
Welcome. Happy birthday. And we've got wonderful fans here as well, Valtteri, who are here alongside you too. While we enjoy all of this down here, let's take a look back at what happened before the summer break in Hungary.
Welcome to Budapest. We've got 20 of the best drivers in the world and a storied circuit.
This is a recipe for a fantastic race.
And the Hungarian Grand Prix is underway. Even reaction time, and Charles Leclerc is trying to break the toe. George Russell is up to third. Norris dips down to fifth. Lando Norris, he's got the DRS up to P4.
Here comes Max.
Look at that, late on the brakes.
He means business.
Mate, my head took all the gravel.
In comes Oscar Piastri.
Leclerc has to give it all beans.
So Lando, the one's got to be 40 laps on a hard tyre.
Yeah, why not?
Lando Norris is going to start lighting up the timing page.
He's pushing really hard.
Lando, just keep the focus.
Max Verstappen's got the inside line, my word! That is crazy close. Piastri's on fire here. He absolutely sails by.
This is so incredibly frustrating. It's a miracle if we finish on the podium.
And there's the late move. Pinch to the apex, Russell gets by.
That was me when the break in. I committed penalty.
Piastri is nearly within DRS. Catching is one thing, passing is another. Piastri shaping for it, going late, locking up.
That was a Hail Mary and sub.
Lando Norris wins the Hungarian Grand Prix. A brilliant performance from both of them.
Yes, yes, yes. Lovely.
Well, 3 wins in 4 then for Lando Norris, but it's Oscar Piastri who has the slender advantage. Every single race matters, every point counts, as Ruth Buscombe is about to tell you across both championships.
Thank you, Laura. Yes, with 10 rounds to go, the championship is hotting up between the McLaren. Boys, just 9 points between Oscar and Lando. That is the tightest gap we've had since shutdown, since 2021, when it was Max versus Lewis. It is an 88-point gap between Lando and Max Verstappen. The last time he was 88 points off the lead was 2018. But that's not it. Going down into the top 10, it's a mere 15 points between P3 and P4, with George Russell and Mercedes closing that gap. Moving on to our teams championship. Now, the midfield, it is all to play for. And actually, all of the prize money that's given out, it's not given out on the drivers, it's given out on the constructors. Well, every single position is still up to play for with the midfield, with just 1 single point between P6 and P7 that represents millions of pounds of prize money. When we look at the fight between the midfield, it's rather tight. But moving between Mercedes and Ferrari, that gap is getting tighter and tighter. But out front, McLaren, if we add up all of the points from Mercedes and Ferrari combined, they still would not have enough to topple McLaren, the biggest lead they have had in years.
Thank you very much, Ruth. Great stuff. I'll tell you what, race day rehearsals are really upping the ante for weekend warm-up here. Well, it's mighty tight at the top. This coming into the season looked to be Lando Norris's to lose. Oscar Piastri is ensuring it is his to win. We can hear, though, from Lando. He was asked to reflect on his season so far, the lessons he's learned, and how he feels coming back off the summer break.
I felt good before, I feel good now. Of course, I went through some harder times at the beginning of the year. I had a good start, but there were some trickier moments, and we worked on quite a bit, me from my side and the team from their side, to improve and kind of get a little bit back on track. And we did that, so it was nice to see some of those results come back my way. I mean, could I have at times made maybe better decisions? I think so. Probably the main one was China sprint qualifying. I think my lap was good enough for pole until the final hairpin where I locked up. If I had that thought probably just before the braking, it's a long season, don't try and be a hero, then I wouldn't have finished. I mean, I lost 8 points there. If I go back to Canada, if I could rerun that and just be a little bit smarter and not take so much risk, could I've not lost quite a few points there? Yes. I wouldn't say I regret those moments. I mean, do I wish it changed and do I wish it was better? Do I wish I could maybe do it again? Yeah, but at the same time, I don't regret probably making those decisions at the time, because I think that's me, that's life, and that's the way it goes. Sometimes it goes your way and you get lucky. Sometimes it goes the other way and you don't make the best decisions. But those are also the times you quite often learn the most and help yourself more for the future. So as everyone knows, we expect a good battle between us as teammates, between Oscar and myself, and that's the one I'm most looking forward to.
Lando Norris very much ready. I tell you what, the Netherlands are getting the party started. I said Max Verstappen will be wanting to, but people here in Zandvoort are ready to go already. And both McLaren drivers will be hoping the flashes of orange are papaya, not necessarily for Max Verstappen. They'll be mistaken, but all action will be out on track. Jolyon, this not just driver v driver bottleneck. It's now engineer v engineer. It's one side of the garage v the other. Talk me through the dynamic of that in a garage with the 10 races to go.
The intensity goes through the roof, because it's one thing when you're all pulling together to beat an opposition, but when you're actually, opposition is standing there or there and you can see them as the race is unfolding, you're trying to work out what they're going to do. You're trying to think, how can we beat them? You don't have the whole of the team to do that. You have to be kind of insular on your side of the garage. And we saw that most last time out in Budapest, the different strategies that they opted for. A bit in Austria as well, when Oscar decided to try and go long and it didn't quite work out for him. It's fun to watch because it means that we are getting strategic races between teammates that we often don't see. Normally they sort of follow suit because a 1-2 is the best thing for the team. I think McLaren now know that they're going to win the constructors. Obviously it's going to happen. So naturally the drivers are not happy to settle for second.
It is fascinating and so exciting for us to watch. We've got a sit-down interview, haven't we, with Zak Brown to come in the pre-race show. How is Zak Brown going to handle this? Because ultimately one driver is going to win the title and one driver is going to lose. And I can't imagine how tricky a situation that will be to handle come Abu Dhabi.
So Zak was saying before the summer break that the plan is effectively to sit down with them and ask them that question, because obviously one of them is going to be the winner, one is going to be the loser, and he's going to ask them, how do you want us to react? Do you want us to go all guns blazing and celebrate, and are you going to be okay with that? Or do we need to rein it in again? Now, I know what Jolyon's going to say. There's going to have to crack on and the other guy's going to have to deal with it. But, but equally, I think it does show that they are trying to think of everything that they can in a bid to try and keep this relationship as good as it is at the minute.
It's nice, and it shows their way of thinking as trying to be a harmonious team, and the drivers are actually doing a really good job towards that in halfway through a dominant season. But one of them is going to be a champion for the first time. Don't have a muffled celebration if it comes down to the wire in Abu Dhabi. You've got to go for it, and that is just the nature of sport, isn't it? And it's all hypothetical because there's still 10 races to go, and if one or the other starts to go on a run now, it might not even go to Abu Dhabi. There's still potential for someone, either Lando or Oscar, to just put a run together and make life very difficult for the other side of the garage.
Nature of the beast, isn't it? Sport, the cruelty, the ecstasy. Alex, this track, though, we know suits them. Lando was brilliant here last year, lost the lead at the start, took it back within the first stint, though, held it right to the end with a one-stop. Do you see a similar scenario unfolding yet again this weekend? Take Max Verstappen out, put Oscar Piastri in, and you've got the two at the front.
Yeah, essentially this was one of Oscar's weakest races last year. He was off the podium here. It was a huge winning margin for Lando. It will be McLaren at the front this weekend, unless the weather plays its part, which on the basis of today could easily happen.
We've had all 4 seasons, I think, in one day. And that means, I think, race day could be very exciting. Qualifying too. OK, Max Verstappen has won here 3 times. He got P2 last year, but they are struggling of late, Red Bull. Let's hear, though, how the 4-time champ is feeling after the break.
Back to business, 10 races to go. What's your mindset coming into the second half of this 2025 season?
just try to make the best of it. Every single race we can, try to see if there are opportunities and try to learn more about the car. Of course, next year will be very different with the car, but I'm still very curious also to, understand the current car a bit more and how or where we can find a bit more performance to make it a bit easier for ourselves.
Which tracks do you think will suit the car going forward?
I would say naturally the more higher speed corners in a layout, that should be a bit better for us. So yeah, the low speed, medium speed is probably a little bit more difficult.
Yeah, if you look at Hungary and you look at the characteristics of this track, the low to medium speed, the high downforce, if you're Red Bull, you're perhaps not feeling entirely optimistic given what we saw in Hungary. Now, you sat down with Max Verstappen today, so we have that feature interview to bring you on our pre-race show. Stay tuned to F1 TV throughout. But Jolyon, mentioning Hungary then, why did the Red Bulls suffer so much with their tyres, with the balance, with the grip?
I mean, I don't think they properly understood it at the time, and I think they're still trying to work out where the grip went, because it was just crucially an overall lack of grip. Obviously, Hungary is full of low-speed corners. Even the fastest corners there are kind of medium speed for here. There are some fast corners here, but it's still a high downforce circuit. So, on paper, this is not like a Silverstone, where they could trim out the downforce and Max could take a pole position. I still think it's not an easy one for them. They just need to try and understand the tyres and get the car working in those lower speed corners. Finding a balance is always the key, and even last year Max struggled with that. He was able to fight for wins, he took the race lead, but the race pace was nowhere. So I think he'll be pushing for everything to try and delight the crowd, but he's definitely up against it again.
And Lawrence, in terms of the driver market, Red Bull is one of those seats that's still up for grabs. 10 races for Yuki Tsunoda to prove what he's about, albeit now with Laurent Mekies in charge.
Yeah, I think that Laurent Mekies being in charge really helps Yuki's pace. I think he can probably take the pressure off himself and really just try and find some results, grind some results, because you talk to him, you talk to his engineers and the people around him, and things are getting better. They're just not transferring into results, and results are going to what he needs if he is going to keep that seat into next year.
Do you think he will? Do you think Yuki stays?
It's starting to feel like they're going to stay as they are into next year, and maybe give Arvin another year in F2, and then maybe just let everything play out, which is a very un-Red Bull approach, or it has been in recent times.
I was about to ask Alex very quickly on Arvid Lindblad and whether he can get a look in, certainly from that junior formula, into the Racing Bulls.
Well, the expectation is that they would very quickly promote him to that team, but new management, new ideas, and they need a new direction because this second seat hasn't worked for a very long time.
Problem is, no one wants it anymore, do they? Hadjar doesn't want to go into this one.
He sounds reticent.
Lawson definitely doesn't want to go back into this one. So, who else is there? And, of course, the new regulations next year might be a chance for a complete reshuffle. It might favour the second driver here more than previously, but it is an interesting one. And Yuki has a chance now in 10 races just to find a bit of form again.
Now, strategy could well be a talking point once again this weekend. In the ongoing battle between Pirelli and the teams, Pirelli are pushing to make this a two-stop. Ruth, have they done it?
Thank you, Laura. Yes, we are back in Zandvoort. It's still a 4.3 kilometre roller coaster through the sands with turn 3 and 14 banked at double the banking of the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, which does make it difficult on tyres. New for this year, the pit lane speed limit has been upped to 60 kph, and Pirelli have brought the C2, 3 and 4. That's one step softer. So every team out there is going to have to try to work out whether it's a one-stop, medium, hard, or whether that C4 soft compound, brand new for this year, is a raceable tyre. Now, Max Verstappen tried on the C3 to extend the stint last year, and the tyres fell away. He was overtaken by Lando Norris and beaten for the first time at his home track. But that's if it's dry. If it's wet, like in 2023, it is, for want of a better word, chaos here. Now, Max Verstappen was leading from pole. His teammate, Checo Perez, started 6.9 seconds behind him in lap 1, boxed at the crossover, and ended up 19.8 seconds in front. Yes, just one lap was 20 seconds different at the crossover onto those C3 tyres, which means if we get any kind of changeable conditions here, we're expecting it not to be easy for any car out there, no matter how fast your car is.
thanks very much. Well, the battle then between Mercedes and Ferrari. We'll take a look at that now. Both fighting for second place in the constructor standings, as we heard from Ruth a bit earlier on, and Max Verstappen fighting with George Russell for P3 in the standings. I have a feeling P3 in the standings may mean a little more to George Russell than Max Verstappen, Jolyon.
Yeah, I think so. I still think this is the perfect race for Max to come back to, his home Grand Prix, even when the championship's not going to be his this year. So it'll keep him motivated. But yeah, I think George is driving really well as well this year. You know, the form that he's putting in that Mercedes car that is obviously difficult. They don't know what they're expecting weekend to weekend, but he's always dragging it towards the front row of the grid even. The times have been very small that he's been away from it. And picking up a podium in Budapest when there's an opportunity there, he's getting it, and that's why he's still in the hunt for third.
And actually, even when Max has won a championship and he's got 10 drivers ahead of him, he still puts in absolutely everything. He's so competitive, isn't he? But on then to Mercedes. Now that they know McLaren are out of sight, but the battle is with Ferrari, can they take more risks, do we feel, in how they approach a weekend and how they approach a strategy? Alex,
yeah.
Lawrence?
I mean, yeah, sure, of course they can. I'm pretty sure they'll be pushing for a number of races now to see what they can do to do something different, because McLaren have been so far away in front of the field. At the moment, I think Mercedes' main issue is understanding why their car isn't working, why it doesn't work in these hot conditions. We're into year 22, 23, 24, 25, of them still not able to get the car working in the hot conditions. That's surely going to be their focus, whatever the result for these final 10 races, so they can hit the ground running in 2026.
I know typically we'd come into this weekend and go, right, it's going to be cool, wet, windy on Sunday, George Russell to win, Kimi Antonelli on the podium. But we don't, that's not even the pattern that's playing out now, is it?
That correlation has vanished. I think one of the key things for Mercedes before now and the end of the year is getting confidence in Kimi Antonelli. They've rushed him through the junior ladder. He said he had more confidence in the old suspension last time out in Budapest. If they can send him into 26 with a bit of momentum, that is key. If they repeat the first half of the year, there's a question mark by the time that we roll around to Melbourne next year. So I think that's one of the key objectives for them.
But you could say the same about Ferrari and Lewis Hamilton on the other end of the scale. I mean, Lewis has had confidence sapped out of him in the last couple of races as well, wondering where his one-lap pace has gone. I think he's definitely had more in there than he's actually shown on paper, but he needs to lay it down again. I think Charles and George are both driving at a really high level. I think between them, you know, there's 3 points here or there in the championship. The big swing is going to be if Kimi gets back in the top 5, if Lewis gets back in the top 5, even a podium. That's when the big hitter points will come.
Just then on Ferrari, and of course the ride eye issues that has been a pretty perennial thorn in their side through the season. Charles Leclerc voicing his disgust at the result in Hungary. How do they set this car up here to mitigate those factors?
I mean, it's just so difficult. The lower you run the car, the faster you go. Simple. With the ground effects, for every mil you get the car down, you basically find a tenth of performance. Charles was only just on pole in Hungary as well. So if they had the car higher, he's probably not on pole. He's probably having a more ordinary race. As it was, the car was really quick, and we can forget that he led 2/3 of the race, was keeping Oscar at bay, and it was looking good. But it was on the edge of illegality, which is how the car was when Lewis won the sprint in China as well. It's how Ferrari could be quick, but it's marginal for literally disqualification. So it seems they had to add air into the tyres on the final pit stop just to try and get the car from scraping on the ground, and then they lose all the performance. Even more performance is lost by adding tyre pressure than raising the car, and that's why Charles, I think, was left floundering just with no grip. If they can get the car lower and not be on the edge of legality, then they'll be in a much better position. But that's the big question for them. Anytime there's bumps in there and everyone else has to raise the car, they're more competitive. On a lower circuit, they just have this caveat of performance all the time.
Stella seems wary of the threat from Ferrari through the last 10 races. We'll wait to see if that transpires to results out on track. For now, they will take a look a little bit further down the pit lane towards Williams. Let's hear from Alex Albon.
Our clear goal would be to try to maintain 5th in the Constructors' Championship. I think it's possible, but it's clear that others have caught up, if not maybe even overtaken us in terms of raw speed. I don't think that's going to be there every weekend. I think it's going to change race by race, but we definitely have a tough task ahead of us. I think the Saubers have made a great step as well, which have put themselves definitely within target of us. So we're going to be elbows out for the rest of the season.
It's out from Alex Albon. Alex Jacques. And look, at one point they seemed clear and dry in that P5 position. Not so now. How do they respond through these last 10 races, besides elbows out on the track?
I'm honestly not entirely convinced they're focusing on responding at all. I think they're only focusing, if you speak to James Vowles, you only hear about 2026. I think they overperformed at the start of the year. I think they were above expectation at the start of the year. I think they're looking further afield than the final 10 races of this campaign.
Talking of expectations, Sauber, my word, what a turnaround. Your old mate Nico Hülkenberg there with his first podium. You had a career best for Gabriel Bortoleto last time out, your driver of the day at the Hungarian Grand Prix. What next then for this team? Can they cement that P5 position?
I mean, they just need to get points on the regular, and they need to get points with both cars. I think for Nico, it's still qualifying. You could hear the frustration for him in Budapest when he was knocked out early on, and he just doesn't understand how to get the most out of this car. It's always been his strength, but he's, at the moment, being a little bit shown up on Saturdays by Gabi, who's getting better and better, isn't he, as the season's going on, and his performance in Budapest was actually just standout. For Saturday, doing the job at the end of Q3 as well, just to get at the front of that pack, and then get the result on Sunday. It was amazing. So they're in the hunt. They just actually need Nico to sort out qualifying, which I never thought I'd ever be saying.
For me, I was just going to say, Sauber have been the team of the year, frankly. 6 points, I think they've scored points in the last 6 races. They've got real momentum. They've got both drivers scoring as well. I think Gabi Bortoletto's now giving Isaac Hadjar a run for his money as the Rookie of the Year.
He was your pick, wasn't he, for Rookie of the Year in F1 Nation?
Slow start.
Yeah, I think I'd give it to him. And because it's benchmark, because I think Hülkenberg is such a good benchmark. So, yeah, I think Bortoletto's showing really what he can do as F1. Hadjar's still great, though, isn't he?
This comes up every single time. Are you backing Bortoleto now?
Yeah, I'm going to twist before the end of the year again.
I was saying, Behrman will go on a run for the end of the year, and then it'll be Ollie Behrman, and he'll claim he backed it the entire time. Also got to consider in that midfield battle, Aston Martin, in a circuit of efficiency in Belgium, they were nowhere. Bolt on a barn door downforce in Budapest, they're having a great time. They'll be bolting on the barn door again. I think they'll be great here. And Fernando Alonso is awesome around this racetrack.
Yeah, he really is. Finished on the podium not too long ago. OK, what of Haas, though? Esteban Ocon is in the top 10 in the driver's standings. Let's hear from him.
Esteban, great to see you. It looked like you had a good summer break, a real switch off. How are you feeling heading into this weekend after that break?
Yeah, feeling good, thank you. Feeling recharged and ready to tackle that second half of the season. Obviously a bit more wet than holidays, but yeah, I mean it should be an exciting weekend with plenty of opportunities. So yeah, I look forward to tackle it.
There's been real potential, I think, throughout the year in terms of the pace of the ultimate car, and I think you've talked about consistency being the target. Is that the real focus, do you think, in this run-in for these last 10 races, to try and kind of get those high points a bit more often?
Yeah, I think we need to extract the maximum out of the car every single time. It's very close between the whole field. I think it's going to be quite important to qualify well around here, but also look at for the conditions. You know, here you never know what's going to come. You need to take the right calls and see if we can, extract a good amount of performance, getting close to the top 10 and then scoring some points.
Great to hear then from Esteban Ocon coming into these final 10 races off the summer break. And Lawrence, once again, a very busy man. I swear we have also done some work today. It's just you'll see the fruits of Lawrence's labour throughout the weekend. You sat down with Laura Müller for a brilliant interview with Ocon's race engineer there.
Yeah, really cool to hear from Laura. She obviously became Esteban's race engineer, well, a race engineer for the first time this year, Esteban's this year as well, and the first female race engineer in that role. And she's super funny. Like, we had a great chat, actually, so I'm looking forward to you guys seeing the interview later this weekend.
I always really enjoy her very expressive face watching parts of qualifying and the race play out. What of Haas then? Alex, Ollie Behrman, you're punting to go on a run for the end
go on a
of the
tear. He's had great one-lap pace in the last
Yeah.
couple of races. Just got to avoid the silly penalties that he had at the start of the year. No more red flag infringements. Build on that strong form that we saw towards the end before the summer break and make the most of that update, because I don't think they've maximised that, apart from the sprint in Belgium.
Look, Haas are 10 points off Racing Bulls, 15 points ahead of Alpine. So Alpine may be bottom of the pile, but it's close. And the kind of weekend they had last year may well flip everything on its head. One seat left at Alpine as well. Do you see Colapinto remaining in that seat through next year?
I think he'll stay in it for this year, but for next year, I think he's got work to do, to be honest. I mean, I think Alpine would like him to show that he deserves to be there. But at the moment, we haven't seen it really from them. So I think Pierre's doing a brilliant job in that car. I think he could be a threat here. He scored a podium here in the past as well. And Alpine could go better on this circuit than they have done in previous races. But yeah, I want to see more from Franco. We saw the glimpse of what he can do, and I've seen it again more recently. He's found that little bit of pace occasionally, but doesn't put it on paper when it matters. So hopefully for him and for Alpine, he starts to deliver too.
The car's not been there for Alpine, has it? It's been tricky to drive even in the hands of Gasly. Oh,
Gasly's shown it's better than you think. He's making Q3 a few times. He scored good points at Silverstone. It does look really, really tricky, but then occasionally Pierre can just bring it when it matters. And the field is just so close. You know, Haas, Racing Bulls, Alpine, Aston Martin, all of them could be last, or they could be in Q3.
The one thing that Franco was underlining earlier is that after this weekend, he's raced at all the other circuits. So he's counting on that for a step forward in the second half of the year.
But he's going to have drivers knocking on the door for that seat, not least Paul Aaron, also one of the Alpine reserves, of course.
But don't you think it's weird that he did so much better on this first visit last year in the Williams? And it seemed to be almost more suited to him as he turned up and did a great job in Singapore and in Baku and the really punishing tracks. And
was the car more benign with the Williams in the hands of Franco?
I mean, probably it was, and it was quite competitive on those circuits as well. And I think he also came in with, you know, it wasn't a mid-season, well, no, it was a mid-season driver change. It was exactly that. But the pressures, I think, were different. You know, Logan Sargent had a year and a half, and it was a shot at nothing, whereas Jack Doohan had 6 races, which felt a bit more of a brutal swap. So I don't know, we'll see. Maybe coming back to a circuit again will be the boost, but I was impressed how he did last year on those circuits for the first time already.
Focus here and now, though, on Zandvoort, on this tricky, twisty, low to medium speed circuit. Let's take a look at the weekend schedule and all that we have coming up. Okay, 12:15 then for FP1, building up to your first hour of practice. 3:45 on air for free practice 2, and that's your Friday done. FP3, 11:15, and then pre-qualifying, 2:30 to build up to the hour of qualifying from 3 p.m. Your pre-race show starting at 2 p.m. and the race itself starting at 3 p.m. I didn't think it would be too long before we heard Max Verstappen here in Zandvoort. Thank you very much to all of you for providing a wonderful audience here for weekend warm-up. It's time for final thoughts and predictions. Who would like to go first?
I'll go first.
Oh, wow, okay.
Yeah, and stand by, all right? Don't get too excited. I'm going for McLaren 1-2 with Lando Norris ahead of Oscar Piastri and Max Verstappen making this lot very, very happy.
It's a solid prediction.
I'm going to have to agree with the top two. I think Lando's going to have the edge over Oscar around here, but I think there's going to be a Ferrari on the podium, and I think it's going to be Lewis.
Wow, first podium.
Actually, yeah, first
With
podium for Ferrari.
Obviously.
To be very clear.
Obviously.
And actually, I did read a stat earlier on which said that if Lewis doesn't finish on the podium this race, he'll become the Ferrari driver with the most starts without a podium, showing the calibre of driver at Ferrari that it's only taken them 14 to stand on the podium, but pretty galling one if he does fall foul of that.
I mean, I feel like he's near enough been in the last 5-6 races. Actually, since Miami, I did some stat digging, and he's only 0.078 off Charles in outright pace. So kind of the deficit was before Miami. So actually, I think it's there. It's hidden there. He just hasn't unlocked it. He hasn't delivered those kind of performances like in that stint in Belgium where he was cutting through the field. I think he's got it. He's had a break. He's relaxed. He's forgotten about Hungary. This is the one.
The finest of margins. We'll see how they are decided. Jolyon, your prediction?
Yeah, McLaren 1-2. I'm gonna flip it so Oscar wins. He's been really good on circuits that I've previously thought would be Lando strongholds this year. On paper, this smacks of Lando, but when I've said that before, Oscar's ended up being triumphant, like in Barcelona. So we'll go with Oscar, Lando, Max for the home crowd.
Go on then. I'll make it a 2-2. Lando versus Oscar. We'll say Oscar, Lando, and Max Verstappen on the podium at his home race in front of this lovely lot. Don't miss a single second of the Dutch Grand Prix here in Zandvoort throughout the course of the weekend on F1 TV. Big thanks to you guys for all your thoughts and analysis on this one. Thanks to Ruth as well on our podium up there, bringing you all of the analysis. We'll see you through the course of the weekend. Goodbye.
This is the Dutch Grand Prix, a stunning venue for Formula One. It's epic around here. And we go racing in Zandvoort. Poor start to Lando Norris, and Max Verstappen takes the lead. Fernando Alonso roars on by to second. The crowd are creating one of the atmospheres of the season. And look at this, a total brawl on the main straight. Overtaking on the inside, on the outside of Tarzan corner. Lando Norris trying to take the lead. He's moving ahead from the home favourite. Lando Norris wins with a crushing performance.
Car was unbelievable. Incredible job, just keep pushing.